How you doing?
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
A lot to do before Christmas. It's always kind of finishing everything you have and preparing our tour next year. So a
Yeah.
lot to do. Yeah, but we're doing well. I'm doing well.
Yeah. That's nice to
I
hear.
hope you do too.
Yeah, except it started snowing yesterday.
Today here as well.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
hate it.
You hate it? I guess
Uh,
it's a little colder than here at your place
I don't
right
know,
now.
it's like -2 maybe.
Okay, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot colder.
So, but
Hmm.
it's okay. I just have 10 hopefully easy questions for you.
Hmm.
That's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Just start with, can you share the story and or formation of the band Chaosbay?
Yeah. The band formed 12 years ago in a city called Mannheim in Germany, where we all studied music. And it was part of the studies that we form a band. And funny enough, this band still exists today, which is not always the case in these early formations. We had like two lineup changes in the beginning, and then we existed up until now. Made a few changes in our style. We also had a big break of 3 or maybe 4 years where we didn't play or didn't record at all. And we almost broke up. But in 2019, we played a tour throughout Germany. And yeah, we all said, come on, let's do this properly again. And that was the point where this thing that you can hear now developed with the new style and the new people.
Yeah. How did you come up with the name, and does it have a meaning?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of associating with the energy that we had in mind for our music in the beginning of the band. But the process of finding the name was really unromantic because we just looked for cool words and tried to come up with a name that stands for itself. I mean, you wouldn't always think of chaos and bay, the two elements of the word. And our goal was to find a word that stands for itself and has cool associations with the sound that we do. Kind of chaos, but in a room, in an order. That's what it means, but not more.
Yeah. Who are some of your biggest musical influences, and how have they helped shaped your sound?
In the beginning, when we founded the band, our biggest influences were Dream Theater, Porcupine Tree, and Swedish band called Pain of Salvation. You might know them. And yeah, I just love the idea of doing concept albums. And yeah, I always wanted to do a concept album with a band. So I decided to go with that style. We wrote a few songs in that style. And at the end of our studies, when we did our diploma, kind of like that, we had to perform a whole concert or record a whole album. And my aim was to do my first concept album. So that was pretty big influences, the classic progressive metal style in the beginning, long songs, virtuoso solos and epic melodies. And after the break, we were more and more influenced by the gent bands like Periphery, Tesseract. And in the last 2 or 3 years, it's more and more going into the metalcore direction, as with Architect, Spiritbox, Bring Me the Horizon, you name it. All these bands are our influences, but only recently. So that was the development. But still, you can find the older prog elements inside it, just not as much as in the beginning.
Yeah. A little bit about your songwriting process. How do you work when you writing a song? And can you tell us a little bit about the process?
Yeah, when we write songs, usually it starts on my computer. We just jamming riffs, either two of us together or three of us together. We don't live in the same city. At least three of us live in Berlin, and our drummer lives in Kaiserslautern, which is pretty far away. So we don't come together to play and jam songs. So it's always starting on the computer, jamming some riffs, putting some parts together, and then when the whole song is there in an instrumental raw format, I will go and write some lyrics to it, and then we finish the last tweaks together. And it all ends up on my computer. So we come together sometimes, and then we do things separately, and then come together again. It's like that, and always digitally, a really modern way.
Inside your fortress, it's getting cold, it's getting harder, you're getting old. Your dignity is slowly fading out. But do you really want to drag us down?
A little bit about your inspiration behind your latest album.
Yeah, of course. You mean content-wise, lyric-wise, or also
Little bit about all.
Okay,
I think.
okay. Yeah, I mean musically, it's kind of starts where we finished the last record. It's modern. It's more modern. It's more song and single orientated. I mean, you can say that the whole streaming culture has its influence on this, but also in a way we had like 3 totally classic concept albums up until then. So I had the feeling I wanted to do an album where I can decide on the order of the songs after writing all the songs. And I felt always kind of limited with the whole energy of the album in the sense of the order of the songs with the concept album thing. So that was one change we did. Really catchy melodies. We still wanted to keep the prog parts, but also not too much. And I think we achieved that. So yeah, as I said, our biggest influences were the progressive metalcore bands like Era, a little bit of Periphery, but more of I Prevail, Siamese, who we are going on tour with next year, also a big influence for us. So bands that really could combine catchy, festival-ready melodies with some prog elements. And lyric-wise, it's about the fear of growing old, the fear of a complicated world out there. And it's kind of overwhelming what we have to do out there, what we have to decide politically and in terms of climate change as well, whilst we still all feel like kids, at least my generation, I think. So that was the inspiration of writing an album that kind of deals with the problems of growing old and having to be an adult.
Yeah. It's shit sometimes.
Yeah, of course.
Do you have a favorite track to play live and why?
Yeah, favorite track to play live, I'd say it's the opening track. I'm super in love with concert intros in general. If I'm going to concert myself, I always make sure to not miss the intro because it's the most magical moment of the whole experience. So I love that, and I always put a strong emphasis on the intros of my albums as well. And that's why I love this song the most. And we always play it, of course, at the first song of our set, at least at the last tour. So I love to play it, and it's so much fun to have this first moment of energy with the people. And another personal favorite song is the song called Nostalgia, which is kind of an interlude. It's just electronics, drums. It's not loud. It's not distorted guitars. It's just almost synthwave kind of feeling and a ballad. And it's really emotional. It's one of the most emotional things we wrote, and because it's so small, it has a special place in my heart on the album.
How about that Message in a Bottle by the Police?
That's not on the album, but it's a really, really great song to play live. It was just a single between albums that we did.
Yeah.
And it's a special moment because you can see that people know the song, but some people are way too young to know where they know it from.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a cool feeling that that something great is happening.
It's one of my favorite covers ever, I think.
Our cover?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
cool. Thanks.
Amazing.
Thanks so much.
with the breakdowns and the growling and screaming. Yeah,
it's fun.
so
It's
cool.
really fun. After we recorded it, we noticed Disturbed did a cover version as well, like 20 years ago, 25 years ago. But it's luckily it's a whole different direction. They just made a ballad out of it.
Yeah.
So it's perfect. Both cover versions can exist
Yeah.
parallelly.
How has the band evolved musically? As you said, from progressive rock to now it's metalcore. But how has you as a person grow?
In the beginning, I didn't use my voice as a voice, as an emotional, like emotional way to get the message across. I used it as an instrument, and I didn't put a lot of effort on developing the perfect melody and the perfect style that fit me and that made me feel something with the songs. I mean, I always enjoyed singing for the band, don't get me wrong, but that's when I compare the albums. What I hear is that vocally we got some steps higher, and we achieved the emotion that we always felt within the music. Now finally getting to the people. In the beginning, it was kind of a wall of music, a wall of virtuoso instrumental music with some vocals in it, kind of way. And nowadays, it's like really good pop music. At least we try to do really good pop music in a really modern metal sound, but always having the goal of if we have to play the song acoustically, it also works. That's the overall goal behind every song, and I'm really proud that we almost always achieve that, because that makes these songs bigger for me, not stuck in a niche.
What about challenges? What challenges have you faced as a band, and how have you overcome them?
Yeah, well, you what's the word? The cycle where you don't get out. What's the English word for that? It's like a vicious cycle. It's called devil's cycle in German. But we had a lot of these in our career, and business-wise and time-wise and logistics, booking, playing concerts, going out there and getting bigger and getting heard on stage and as well as in streaming services is always the biggest challenge. And you are always at a point where you think nobody really wants to hear that. Nobody is as interested in our music as we are, and that's always a bad feeling to have. And you have to overcome this and keep going, because the people are out there. At least we made this experience, and yeah, you have to just put in the work to get the music to them. And that's always these hills you have to climb, always a new hill. These were the most challenging parts. Getting festivals, getting a record label, and you are always at a point where you think we're never gonna do this, and then 1 year later you ask yourself, how did we do it? I don't know. It's really just about not stopping and not giving up, and that's the biggest challenge.
And are there any memorable moments that you are that you remember well?
Yeah, the biggest and best festival we ever played was like 1 year ago at Summer Breeze open air in Germany. It's one of the biggest metal festivals, and we were the first band that day that played. Quite a big stage, but we thought we'd play in front of like 200 people. But the whole space was filled with people. The audience was there. A lot of people knew us, and it quickly became one of the best shows we ever experienced. And this will always have a really special place in our hearts. This and the first time we had an own vinyl record in our hands. That's really special as a musician, I say. Yeah.
What can fans expect from you now in the future or next year?
A lot of live shows. We're starting the year off with a big Europe and UK tour with Siamese, band from Copenhagen. That's our first ever tour with like a big tour bus and going to several countries. So that's a lot. We play some festivals, and music-wise, actually, I don't know. We are kind of getting inspired right now, cooling a little bit off because we were constantly releasing like 3 years in a row almost. We never had a break, so at this point it's really important to not get stuck in like a track where you don't feel emotions, where you just push content out, and we don't want to push content out. We want to do really good music. So at the moment we're getting inspired, we're discovering new bands, going to concerts of friends of ours, going to bigger concerts, and yeah, just getting inspired. And the tour we're doing in next year, so we'll see what we're coming up, but we want to do some exciting new stuff next year.
I forgot to ask you, what's your favorite band?
My favorite band at the moment is Bill Murray. I can say that. Just discovered them like a few months ago and totally blown away. I always discover, I'm not often discovering bands that I'm really passionate about, only like every 2 or 3 years. And these guys are just amazing. I will see them live the first time next year, so I'm pretty excited. And yeah, they're a heavy influence.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.